are live. Woo. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Project X podcast. I am Alan Smith, one of your co-hosts, and I am with
Big Dave,
who is the other co-host of the show. Should we've got a few of these episodes in now. Should we kind of run back through our credentials a little bit of where we came from, or?
I don't know if credentials. I don't know that anybody gives a crap about credentials.
Okay. Or just a background, a history of maybe how we know each other and
a little bit where we're from.
Yeah, I guess. And yes, this is padding for this episode just a little bit. So already, we're 4 episodes in. We're already padding.
Well, here's the thing. We don't really have a format for this. Yes, a lot of it has been movies and music and culture and all
just
that.
Just pop culture in general, yeah.
This is not a pop culture podcast. This is about
a culture podcast, I guess.
It's whatever comes up.
Right.
You know, we may get off into some stuff.
Mm-hmm. As you've seen so far, we've covered the X-Files, a few episodes of the X-Files. We covered some bands that you may or may not have heard of.
Yeah,
and we also covered The Crow. So basically we've covered movie, television, and music at this point. So this was going to be a little different. But yeah. So anyways, like I said, my name's Alan Smith. And that's my dog Biscuit. You can hear in the background there.
We're back in Nashville.
Yeah,
we're no longer.
Yeah, you're gonna hear my dogs who think that they have to be involved in everything.
Should we get them a mic?
Probably. So.
You're from Nashville proper.
I am from Nashville proper.
A native Nashvilleian.
I am a native Nashvilleian, which is something you do not hear of very often around here because it's so transient. The common vernacular for that is like, oh, you're a unicorn. I always tell people, no, I'm a Sasquatch. There's a difference, mainly because unicorns are, unicorns don't exist. Sasquatches might exist. Might.
As I have Scottish heritage, I'm going to take a little offense at that because it's actually the national animal for Scotland.
That says a lot about you Scots. So. Hey, I have some Scotch blood in there as well. So it's but
the fact that you're from Nashville and you're not a unicorn and you're actually very hairy.
Yeah, well, there's that also, and not quite. Yeah, I'm not quite as hairy or tall as a Sasquatch, but hey, we all have our stuff. So anyway, yeah, I am a Nashville native. All of I'm not going to say how many years that I've lived, have been here. I've seen the city change quite a bit, but when you're at that age, you're supposed to know what you're going to do the rest of your life, which I think is complete horse crap. It's one of those things that I definitely went into in college. I definitely went into the arts a little more. I was really into music, played an instrument, and sometimes I'll even try to sing a little bit. I say try, but we have fun. And it's one of those things that getting into that eventually led me into a communications degree because I wanted to get into radio. This was right before podcasting became a thing. And
right before radio became
took a complete nosedive.
And went into garbage can.
Yeah, pretty much. And so...
Yes, big broadcasters. I said that and I meant it, and we'll get into it.
Yeah, and I went back to school, and I still have not finished my communications degree.
I'm going to fuss at you.
I know. But yeah, so coming from, a little bit of like a college radio background, more so than actual radio, but I also did a podcast for 5.5 years, one that's still ongoing with the people that I was doing it with. You can go check them out at culturesmash.tv, and that one was...
I guess we should link to now.
Yeah, whatever. But it's one of those things where they, that is a weekly pop culture, whatever is happening now. And when Dave and I sat down and started talking about doing this, we wanted to do stuff that's a little more evergreen, as we say in the business, that can be listened to. Like if you come in and pick up this episode in 2 years, it's not going to be dated to right now.
Well, we hope.
I mean, obviously there are always some kind of cultural references that you make that kind of dates things, but by and large, we're not talking about something that happens right this second. And so in 2 years, it really dates it how of a time and place. So, but yeah, I actually did television for a year, a show that none of you have seen and will probably never see because it's just not available any longer. And I could write a book about the experiences of trying to get a television show off the ground, dealing with a major corporation and doing it, and them not knowing a single thing about trying to start that kind of thing. So
Wow.
Yes, it was a multi-year just, hey, we're doing this. No, we're not. Hey, we're doing this. No, we're not. Hey, we're doing this. No, we're not.
That's actually something that we haven't talked about.
I have not talked about it with a lot of people because it's just so frustrating.
And part of that is because I was getting married at the time.
Right. And I missed your wedding because I was in Atlanta taping the pilot episode.
Yeah, I had actually asked you to be in my wedding, and you said yes initially. And then you backed out on me. Because I was ready to murder you.
Well, because again, and I'm not going to say which one, but the corporation we were dealing with was legit like, we need to get this thing going right now.
Yeah.
And which was like, okay, cool. And so we went and shot the pilot. We came back, shot the second episode.
Yeah.
And radio silence for almost 2 years.
That's typical in that industry.
And I mean radio silence. And then all of a sudden they came back and like, oh yeah, we want to try this again. And we went and shot the rest of the season. It was only a 6-episode season in total, so we did like 4 more episodes. And it was fun. I enjoyed it quite a bit. I will say I am a lot more comfortable behind a mic like this than I am in front of a camera.
When you're both like us and you have faces for radio.
Yeah.
Well, there's
a little bit, but
that's part of the reason why I went into the area that I studied in college that I did. You
would be surprised. You've known me a long time. We've known each other 25 years now.
Yeah.
And Dave can tell anyone because he's seen it firsthand. I have not been someone who ever lacked confidence.
Okay, just so you know, every day between us is Festivus, and we were always grieving
airing our grievances. There has been some moments.
Alan does not lack for confidence, to the point to where sometimes we have to look at him and go,
"No, yeah, I know it's." The thing is you would be greatly surprised, even being confident, when you go and watch yourself on video.
No,
how small you will feel all of a sudden, and how self-conscious you will feel all of a sudden about stuff that you never even thought of before.
Well, you don't even have to do it on video. I mean, you record yourself and you go back and you listen to yourself, and you're like, that is not how I sound.
Right. And I'll tell you, this is this episode with us talking about that, because we're going to have another episode coming up about attempts at being cool, and I will talk about this during that time. So that's kind of where I am. Nashville native.
Almost finished a degree.
I have 1 degree in liberal arts. Yeah, overeducated, underpaid, completely. Have been for my entire life.
So you are a true Nashville native.
Yeah, there's something to do with that too. And I have a background, in radio and television, basically, is what it comes down to. And, and also working on some independent projects, movie products and projects and stuff like that. And I'll be honest, at this stage in my life, I am way more comfortable being behind a camera, or more importantly, behind a microphone, than I ever will be again on the other side of it. So that's kind of where I am. Dave, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I started out in a little town in south central Kentucky, and the manufacturing, I'm talking about in a good area, because you're only about an hour north of Nashville,
right,
and you're about 2 hours south of Louisville.
Yeah.
So, there's a lot of music and a lot of culture stuff that come through that area. It's kind of over from Bowling Green, which, for those of you that are looking for Bowling Green, there's a little college there called Western Kentucky University that I ended up going to eventually. So there's a lot of stuff there. They make Corvettes in Bowling Green.
Yes, they do.
And they have made them there for as long as I've been born.
The museum is right outside of Bowling Green, is it not?
I actually went to the opening weekend of museum with a couple of friends, and it's really interesting.
Okay.
And I need to go back since they've had the big sinkhole.
Since they had the sinkhole, yes. Go look that up, because there was a sinkhole that opened up under the museum, and it was pretty devastating.
Side note, Tennessee and Kentucky are built over one of the largest limestone aquifers in the U.S.
And limestone is porous and will break on you all of a sudden.
It's one of the world's biggest water filters, is what it is. And because it's a water filter, water filters through it, and as we all know, water erodes, and then you can be driving down the road and have a sinkhole that could eat your house open up in front of you,
which we just had recently here in downtown Nashville.
Oh,
yeah, just a few days ago, because there was a water main that broke downtown, and because of that,
yep.
And of course, it happened on a major thoroughway. So,
and we're talking about a time when Hank Jr. was big. I think Born to Boogie had come out when I was living there. Kentucky Headhunters were starting to make some noise over around Edmonton, which is just over from where we are at. I think I had some family that were hanging out with them at the time.
Okay.
And then we moved. The factory my dad was working at shut down, and we had two places that he basically narrowed it down to: Toledo, Ohio.
No offense to our Ohio fans, but I've been to Toledo.
Or northern Michigan, up around Traverse City.
Okay. Oh, wow. Okay.
When I'm talking about Traverse City, I'm talking about top of the mid.
Yeah, I know where Traverse City is.
We were about 20 minutes from Traverse City in the little town we were at. And Dad had an office both in East Jordan and Mansalona. And he had to make the trip. He'd spend 2 days at one and 3 days at the other and then reverse it.
Okay.
He worked for... it's a major manufacturer for auto parts manufacturing.
Okay. We're not naming names here.
We're not naming names because if they want us to name them on the podcast, they're going to have to pay us.
Well, that, and also we don't have good enough lawyers to talk crap about.
No, we're both dirt poor. And,
yes.
But my dad's claim to fame, he and a friend of his from up there came up with what's referred to, what they were calling jokingly, but it's now a thing in all cars. You'll see it, the gangster escape hatch for the trunk.
Oh, in the inside where it's got
if you're inside the trunk and it's got the little glow-in-the-dark handle where if you pull it, it'll pop the latch for the trunk.
Right.
My dad and his friend actually invented that and are on the patents for that, but the company they were working for, of course,
took all of them,
owns all patents when you're working for them.
Yep.
So if you're next
common thing in industrial America.
So the next time somebody throws you in a trunk and you're able to get away, you can thank my dad for that.
There you go.
So the second year he had to shovel snow off the roof. And when we were up there, we're talking about bands that came out at the time were like the Romantics.
So we're talking mid-'80s.
We're talking
early mid-'80s.
Early mid-'80s. Yeah. The Go-Go's.
Oh, yeah. We are talking early 80s now, yeah.
The Go-Go's. So. I remember laying in bed with my transistor radio, that the little black square one where you had the one earpiece. Romantics, Go-Go's, the Cars.
Okay, that's
time. We're talking about all typical early mid-'80s top 40 pop stuff. I remember the Clash.
Oh yeah, they would have been a couple of years in their career at that point. But
Rock in the Casbah was huge. Stray Cats.
Okay,
Stray Cats were huge.
Was this before or after Billy Joel's Innocent Man came out?
Don't know.
Okay, because I think it came out in '84, if I'm not mistaken.
Rock This Town.
Yeah, Stray Cats.
Was
right.
The huge hit that I remember at the time.
Okay.
There was another group that I was going to mention that I can't think of. Anyway, second year he had to shovel snow off the roof to keep it from collapsing in. And I mean that literally. He found a job with a manufacturing company in a little town in south central Illinois called Effingham, Illinois.
Okay.
Interstates 57 and 70 cross there. You can go to any border of the U.S. that you want to from there, interstate-wise. But even before the interstates were there, it was a major rail hub.
Okay.
And major there was one crossing, I remember there was like 6 or 7 tracks.
Oh, wow.
That you had to cross. In this town, you left everywhere a half an hour early because you were going to catch a train. There was no if you catch a train. It was you're going to catch a train and you're going to be late. The school schedule actually ran off of buses being late because of trains and all that.
Okay.
And that's where the mid-'80s, like the Smiths and the Cure and all of that were starting to hit big, but it was also in the middle of the big hair band explosion.
The Motley Crue was huge.
Motley Crue was huge. All the great bands were coming through Terre Haute, Indiana, or up where University of Illinois was. I can't think of the name of the town. Was it Springfield? Might have been Springfield.
I can't remember off the top.
I don't remember. Anyway, I never got to go to a concert in Illinois because my parents wouldn't allow it because they were always hours away.
Mm-hmm.
So it was all radio and MTV for me. Back when MTV actually played music.
Mm-hmm. Which is going back 20 years or so. Yeah, anyway. So.
Yeah. And
yeah, old guys complain about MTV not playing music videos anymore. But of course, they wouldn't play music videos that I'd want to see now anyway. So I'm kind of like, whatever. So.
I hate to say it. I think the music video business is pretty much over.
You can get it on YouTube some. Well, I mean, that's kind of where they release everything now.
YouTube, but I mean, music videos were huge.
Yeah, that would make or break a band back then. You know, it's
yeah.
So anyway, we're getting off on our tangent here. So.
Yeah, and so we go from Illinois to just outside Nashville, Tennessee. And just about the time metal is dying and
grunge is becoming
the
huge,
Seattle
I know.
scene is starting to pop. I was already starting to listen to Mother Love Bone. We talked about Rip Magazine. Mm-hmm. That's where I discovered Mother Love Bone. I was starting to get into some Mudhoney. And I moved down here, and it had already with Vanderbilt University used to have a really good college radio station. Mm-hmm. And I was so behind the music scene when I moved here with RVU playing all this stuff. You know, everybody I knew was already listening to Fugazi and Clockhammer and some of those bands. And I moved in going, yeah, Guns N' Roses. And they looked at me like, Luddite.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
And then my music education got a major kickstart at that point. So culturally and musically, I'm very much kind of a mixed bag.
Okay.
Because I've lived in several different areas of basically the Midwest and the South. Mm-hmm. So it's my musical tastes are very.
Mm-hmm. But living around here is probably the biggest area you've lived in, correct?
Well, yeah.
I don't know how big Traverse City was at the time.
It depended on what the tourist season looked like.
Okay.
And the town that we lived in, it was a tiny town.
Okay.
You walked everywhere.
Okay. So this is your metropolitan area.
This is my metropolitan area. Right. And honestly, this is as big as I really want to get metropolitan.
I understand that.
Yeah. It's big enough that I can do whatever I want to. It's small enough that I still don't have to deal with some of the crap that you would deal with. Right. But ended up going to a little local community college where we'd kind of met.
We had met prior to that. I was playing in a band with Tony. Yeah. That was a friend of yours. Yeah.
That was still in high school because Tony got kicked off the football team.
Yeah, he was still in high school. Yeah, that's because he got that was a whole. I met him through some other friends.
Yeah,
that it was a local thing. Like they had made the news, about this because his parents were trying to sue to get him back on, and all this kind of stuff. And ultimately it all came down to the fact he had long hair. The coach wanted him to cut his hair, and he was like, "No, I don't want to cut my hair because I play in a band." This was even before I knew him though. So
and honestly, you couldn't tell he had long hair when he had the uniform on.
Right.
He was a tight end.
Right.
He wore a cowboy collar, which came up over the back of his head,
right,
and it went into his helmet. So the hair got pulled back into a ponytail. It got dropped down his back. He put the cowboy collar on,
and you couldn't.
And then once you got the helmet on, you couldn't even tell he had long hair.
Right.
It was basically the coach was a bit of a redneck and wanted conformity amongst all the players.
Absolutely, and his wife was a local DJ and it was one of those things that he had
on a rock station.
He had some stroke. Basically, is what it came down to. Yeah, and anyways, all that stuff. I met Tony that way through some other friends, and then we started playing together. And I pulled my drummer from a previous band, and then also pulled in another friend of mine. That was
because I was friends with Tony. I started hanging out with y'all.
Yeah, I started hanging out.
I started running a little bit of audio. For
right,
you guys.
Dave started doing all that stuff, and then I got kicked out of the band I started. So But that was,
and when that happened, I ended up hanging out with Alan more than the other.
Well,
guys.
it was funny because I know there was a little bit of a lag in there, because
well, that's what I was getting to, is because at the local community college,
Dave and I ran into each other again, like all of a sudden, like, hey, what's going on, man? Which is funny. That repeated itself a couple of times over because even Dave and I both were kind of career students for a while. Dave more so than myself, but I had a really good run.
I paid for all of my associates out of pocket.
Right.
I was working part-time, going to school part-time, and hanging out, making music with you part of the time.
Yeah, so I mean, it was...
I also play music. I'm a drummer. You didn't say what instrument you played, so I don't know if you want
I play guitar. I said I play guitar and sing a little, so...
He's a guitar player, so...
Yeah, but that was... The funny story with that is that after I had graduated, I left for a while, and I came back like 5 or 6 years later, and I walk in. That's when I started working on my communications degree. And I walk in the first day and I sit down, and I sat in the very back of the class because that's what I always did. Even I was older at this time, and like
we both were.
Yeah, and it was one of those things where I was like, I'm still like, I don't want to sit in the front of the class, and I'm still back of the class person. And I remember like class had just started, and Dave comes walking in and walked all the way over to the other side of the class and sits over there, and I'm just sitting there going, really? He's still here?
Well, I was probably exhausted from the shift I just got through.
And he sat over there for like 10 or 15 minutes, and finally, I was like, Dave looks over, and his eyes became saucers. And he mouthed, he's like, what are you doing here?
Well, they had just started audio engineering class, and I had been taking that, and they changed it from a degree to a certificate.
Right.
I'd already been working on the
degree. I know.
Degree for so long that I switched over to the communications portion of it.
Now, to Dave's credit, he also graduated that semester and went on to Western Kentucky at that point. So, and I hung out for another semester and wound up 2 credits short of a degree. So
both of us worked on the college radio station.
Yes, we did.
I
stayed on there for a while afterwards also.
I was on there for a long time also.
But that was a lot of fun. I caused some problems, and
poor Mr. E.
And the guy that's the head of the program, or he's the programming director and everything up there. He takes care. He makes sure that the inmates are not running the asylum,
which we did on occasion.
But he pretty much steered the ship, and luckily it's one of those things that just recently in the last few months they had a kind of a reunion of sorts, and he announced that he's getting ready to retire, and he was happy to see us, which was
that's saying something. But Mr. E's one of my favorite teachers, always will be.
Yeah. Were you still there whenever I asked him? I was like, we were kind of looking at the radio station, and he was Mr. He was like, yeah, it's really nice. I was like, so how long before we go on the air? And he's like, oh no, no. He's like, I am not doing that today.
Well, after me and Tim Coker, and I forget who the other one was, we did a Halloween show. There was 3 of us on the air at the same time, and I don't think he's let anybody. No, I think there's one group on there that it's 2 people on the same show.
So he's not doing multiple.
He wouldn't do multiple shows.
Yeah. So anyway, so that's what Dave and I did all that.
I went on to Western Kentucky, and finished my bachelor's in broadcasting with an emphasis in television video production. And I literally did the production side because I wanted to be behind the camera. And when I got up there, I found the thing that I really enjoyed the most was the video editing.
Okay.
I could lose myself in the editing suite for hours on time, tweaking.
Oh, you shouldn't have said that. So.
Tweaking my stuff. I know. Tweaking video.
Yeah.
To get it the way I wanted it. I love it. I still love doing video editing. I just don't get an opportunity to do it much. Moved back to Nashville, got married, and ended up working in the live audiovisual industry at a local college, doing audio, IMAG video, which if you've ever been to a concert, IMAG video, the screens that they have up to where they're showing the guitar players up close.
Right.
So the people in the back of the venue can see what's going on.
Right.
There is actually a full video production crew that's like it would be for television.
Okay.
Except it's live
Right.
production for that show. And I got into a lot of that, and we did some web streaming with that at the time. And then I found a job where I had health insurance, and now I'm in the...
Thank God for health insurance.
I'm not going to lie. I took the job for the health insurance.
Right. Because it's kind of the same situation I'm in now. And
it's a great job. I enjoy the people I work with. And it gets stressful at times, but it's kind of a mixture of installation maintenance and live event stuff. So I've got, music, I've got video production, I've got radio, on-air radio experience. I've got a little bit of sound engineering, which I'm going back for classes. We get a free class a semester at the place I'm working at.
Again, career students.
Well, if you ever quit learning,
I agree. Yeah, that's every once in a while I kick around the idea of going back to school to take those 2 classes.
Take them.
And
seriously, I'm going to bug you about it.
I know. I need to find a way to do it at night. Is the thing. That's because with my job, I work 9 to 5, and so
it's always try to learn something.
Absolutely.
If you're not taking any classes, go find a class and take it, even if it's just for the fun of it. You don't have to necessarily, get the degree. If you've got something you're interested in, go learn about it. That's anyway. But
the more you know.
I've moved around. I've lived both up north and down south.
Right.
The folks in the south tend to not know how to take me now because I'm a little bit more blunt and upfront because of the years that I lived up north. I still have manners when I want to, but if you push me too hard, I start leaning over into, no, this is the way it is.
Right.
Too bad. So.
Yeah, that's, even being from the South, being born and raised here. Especially going back and listening to these tracks, for doing editing and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
I think I sound like a hillbilly. Okay. But the thing is that to the people who live here, who, are from the South, and then I don't. Like, I sound like someone who's not from around here.
Yeah.
I've gotten that for all of my adult life. Of like, so where are you from? Like, oh, I'm from Nashville. Like, no, originally. I'm like, no, I'm from here.
Yeah.
And I can't tell you how many times, even in this day and time, have been called, oh, you're just one of them fast talking Yankees. And I'm like, no, I'm neither of those. And so it's.
Well, it's funny. Now that I've finally put down roots here in the Nashville area, and I like it here. I don't really want to uproot and move again, because I've already done all my moving around. It hasn't been until like the last, I guess, 5 or 6 years. Everywhere I've lived, I've always been the new kid. I've always been the new kid. And because of that, I've kind of always held people off at an arm's length. It's like, well, I'm not going to be around here long enough to really build a relationship with, and it's caused me some problems, because you don't really build relationships with people. I've always kind of been a fringe outlier. You
have a lot of acquaintances and not a whole lot of friends,
so. And it's kind of by design, simply because every time we move somewhere, it's like, we're probably not going to be here more than, a couple of years or, 6 or 7 years. And well, now I've been in Nashville for
30.
I'm guessing it was like 91 that we moved here.
Close to 30 years, yeah. So, 28 years, yeah.
Yeah, close to 30 years. And it's just now starting to feel like, in the last decade, I've started building some relationships that are actually deeper than I've really had in the past. Okay. Which is interesting.
Well, and that's with living here my entire life. I had kind of the same, because it was nothing because Nashville was always such a transient city. Yeah, it has been forever. People will come here to make it big in the music business, and there was
three major interstates,
right? And there's 3 major interstates come through here, and there was also, especially in the early '90s, a lot of businesses started moving, like big business. Like we have Nissan, of course. Saturn was south of us, not about an hour south of us, and that brought a lot of people in, and just different stuff like that. And so it was one of those things where like all these major businesses started moving in, and it brought a lot of people with them. So you had that type of stuff. But even going back before that, when I was a kid, somebody would move here in the, 2nd grade, their parents would bring them, type thing, would move in, and they might not be there and be here in the area in 3 years.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of that also, of people that I got to be friends with that all of a sudden were just gone. They moved somewhere else and they never came back. And this is in the days before social media and cell phones and stuff, so there is no communication with people.
Write a letter.
You could, and it's funny because like I still have some letters from people from when I was real little, that wrote stuff.
You'd write
but that
for
was
3
it.
or 4 months,
and then it
school
would
exactly,
and
you get busy with your new friends.
Exactly, and so I understand that, and also the fact that I have so many friends who are from other places.
Yeah.
Very few. Like I have one of people that I still am in contact with all, on a regular basis. I think I only have one other friend who's been here their entire life.
Well, my wife.
Well, then there's your wife.
Yeah,
okay.
there's
All right,
wife.
I know 2 people that's been there their entire time.
Yeah.
But I don't even see your wife that often, So
No,
I see you a whole lot more than her.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things where that's still and the other thing is that people move, for other opportunity. And that's something, because I've got, I was showing you pictures earlier, and, I have friends that came back into town this weekend because, they still have family here, but they're living in Pittsburgh now.
Yeah.
And they've been there for 7 years. And the thing is that they're there. I have one friend who's living in Denver, Colorado now. I have another one that's living in Austin, Texas. I have 2 more living in Athens, Georgia. And and these are all people who used to live here who have just taken off.
Yeah.
And they're gone. And I have one that's in Wilmington, North Carolina now. It's like everybody just spread.
That may be part of your accent issue. Because you're
pulling from everyone else.
Because you're pulling from everyone.
Yeah.
One thing about moving around all those places, kind of wrapping back around to it, is my accent is now starting to settle in. But having moved around like I did, if I go and I start talking to somebody else that's got an accent that's a little bit different from mine, I catch myself starting to meld into that accent. I pick up accents really terribly easy.
I did that a lot.
And I do it without really realizing I'm doing it.
Right.
It almost got me into a fight in a club one night because that guy from Scotland.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there talking to him for 30 minutes, and all of a sudden I'm starting to pick up his accent.
I know. I did that
was
recently.
A terrible accent.
I did that recently at my work. I had a guy come in, and he was an Australian. And it was one of those things that I was making I started to slip a couple of things. I'm like, no, don't do it. This is, and I'm sure he probably hears that, people whether they're trying to be funny or not, but that's kind of where we are. This is, I did this, like I said, for 5.5 years, and we had, and I don't know what their numbers are now, but I do know that just through iTunes, we had a pretty good following. It built over time.
You're talking about the other podcast?
The other podcast, the Culture Smash podcast. It used to be the Cine Geek podcast, and there's a whole reason why it's not Cine Geek anymore that has to do, again, with... All
right, let's just go ahead. We'll do a full shout-out on...
Yeah. Seriously, go check out culturesmash.tv. Because they have that's their website. I used to write for them. You can probably find some of my old articles up there. I used to do... there was a series of articles I did called Retroactive, that was basically talking about retro stuff. Like one I talked in one episode, and one of the columns was about convenience stores when we were kids. And I did one about certain toys, and that kind of stuff, and it was just that kind of junk.
I probably got some convenience stores that you probably never heard of.
Yeah, well, this was not necessarily like brands, or chains.
About just the
the candy aisle and the slush puppy machine, and
the magazine aisle,
the magazine, the comic rack,
the comic book spinner.
Yeah, exactly. That kind of stuff.
The comic books always on a
comic book spinner rack. I would love to get a hold of one of those things, and I've looked, and they are freaking expensive as everything. But it's that type of stuff. That's what that series of articles that I did, those columns that I did, was about. Was about that type of stuff. I also did some some reviews of movies and different stuff like that. Okay. But culturesmash.tv, go check them out. They still do a podcast. I think they do more of It's predominantly on YouTube now and Facebook Live. It was Facebook Live, but they switched. They went from Facebook Live to YouTube.
Okay.
I think. I don't know. I haven't been on there in a while.
Live stream?
It is a live stream.
Archive?
Both. They live stream it and then it's archived. And my dog Biscuit will say hi to everybody apparently.
Yeah.
But
and they
I
do more
anyways,
like a round table.
It is. And the thing with it is that I found that a lot of times there was a distance between us and our audience. There was a few people that lived around locally that found their way onto the show a little bit, but also like kind of into the monkey sphere, if you want to use a technical term, you know. But it was one of those things that by and large that was it. You know, we had very little especially for the numbers that we were getting on a weekly basis. It was still one of those things where I was really surprised at how little community actually was there. And that's not something that was something that we haven't really talked about. It's something with this. I really want to build a community. Yeah. I see that with other podcasts I listen to, especially like their Facebook communities or, you know, that that kind of stuff.
If somebody's listening to us, I want to talk to them.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's, you know, we have,
because like I said, all opinions suck, and so do yours.
Yeah, and so do ours. You know, so it's
we want to hear what your your
exactly,
opinion is.
Exactly. But you know, but it is one of those things where I mean, it's just I would much, you know, Joss Whedon. I remember years ago, it was something I think he was talking about, like when, you know, after Buffy had gone off the air, you know, whatever, and he was talking about how it had a real cult following, like a very niche, you know, very hardcore fan base.
I'm one of them.
I am too, but he said that he would rather make something that 1,000 people need to see than rather than 1 million people want to see.
Yeah.
And I'm that type of person. I'm that type of person where it's like, hey, you know what? I surround myself with the things I need in my life, not a whole lot of stuff that I want in my life.
I'm also kind of the opinion, I would rather make something that I like, that I'm happy with, and would listen to myself more than worry about what somebody else thinks about it. If somebody else digs it, cool.
Awesome. If they don't,
that's cool. Awesome. Right. Good for you. I found somebody of a like mind.
Right.
If you don't, that's cool too.
Yeah,
I mean, there's a podcast or music or
there is.
a comic book or something.
Podcasts now are like magazines used to be. They used to say that, you know, if you had an interest, there was a magazine for it.
I look at them as more like the old rock zines.
But what I'm saying though, you know what I'm saying is that used to kind of be the byline on this. Like, hey, if you've got an interest, there's a magazine for you, and it was true.
Yeah,
you know,
Publishers
same thing. Yeah, same thing with podcasts. If you have an interest, there's probably 1,000 podcasts for you, you know. Yeah. And I say that as somebody who listens to a lot of podcasts, and that, and some of them cycle in and out depending. You know, sometimes I'm like, well, admittedly, there's a lot of times with certain podcasts that they'll download and I'll look at it and be like, nah, I'm really not interested in that subject this week, and I just delete it. But the thing is that the next week there's probably something I want to hear. So it's just kind of one of those things.
I know I keep picking on Rogan, but that's one of the major podcasts that I listen to. Mm-hmm. A lot of it, you know, I don't listen to the MMA show stuff that he does.
It's just not my thing.
Occasionally I like watching MMA. It's interesting to me. The technique and the technicality that those guys and the amount of athleticism is amazing to me.
Right.
Because that's something I know that I'll never be able to do. But I don't listen to MMA shows. I think it's cool. You know, he's a comedian, so he's interested in comedy, and he's interested.
He has all of his comedian buddies on there,
and that's cool. You know, that's his thing.
And there are some comedians I really love, and if they're on there, I listen to them.
Yeah, but I don't listen to
all of them. Right. I also don't always listen to all this political stuff either.
I don't agree with some stuff that Rogan says, but I respect his opinion because his opinion sucks, like everybody else's.
Just like everybody else's.
Yeah, that's going to be one of my. That's one of my things. Is everybody's opinion sucks. I'll say it again. But there's some stuff I do agree with, and you know, if that's his opinion, cool. You know, okay, I know how he thinks now. I don't care. You know, I don't get upset over it.
No,
I'm not going to go out and
I'm not going to
troll
not
or dox the guy.
Not going to start a Twitter war or any of that kind of stuff because it's dumb.
It's wasted energy.
It really is.
There's so much other stuff that you could put your energy into.
Exactly.
You know, if you don't like it, okay, so go do something that you do like and counteract it.
Right.
it irritates me.
Exactly.
But I'll go through and I'll handpick what shows I'm going to listen to from Rogan, and it's everything from the conservation guys and the hunters that he listens to like I just got through. I'm in the middle of listening to the Bob Lazar podcast.
That one's good. I listened to that one. Yeah, because again, kind of like going with the what's his name, the crazy one he had on there not long ago that we talked about.
Oh, Alex Jones.
I enjoyed listening to it because it's so out there that it's like, all right, yeah. And the thing is, the Bob Lazar, I've heard all that stuff before from him. Oh yeah, because he's been touting that same line for 30 years.
He's not really changed his story.
He hasn't changed his story. And in the 90s, we were all into aliens and UFOs because it had permeated the culture.
I'm not going to lie. I was actually into it way before, though. Yeah. I was the weird kid that would go into the library and go, I want the section on ghost stories and UFOs. And they'd take me over to the fiction. I'm like, no. Yeah. I want the nonfiction stuff.
Oh, you know what would be a good episode?
What?
Time Life books. Mysteries of the Unexplained.
I never.
I think I have a couple of those books around here somewhere.
I never really looked at them because I was like, it's Time Life. What are they?
Yeah, I know. But they used to. That's a whole other thing. But they had a whole bunch of those series of books of different subjects. Yeah. But that was one I just remember the commercials. But
I saw it was Bob Lazar, and I'd heard his name in passing. In reading some of the UFO stuff that I've read, and I was like, oh, Bob Lazar, that's history. I listened to like the first couple of minutes, and I was like, oh, there's a documentary out?
Yes.
Hold, pause. I went to Netflix and I watched a documentary, which is interesting.
Right.
I mean, he got rated by every law enforcement agency possible while doing the documentary.
Right. And he was the one that started that like pretty much informed everyone about Area 51.
Well,
about SR4, existing. Yeah.
Which was a subsection of 51 and the new element.
Right.
Was it 115?
Yeah, and it was something that they said, no, this isn't true, but now it's actually on
the
a thing.
Chart,
yeah. So
they just haven't found the right pieces to put together with it to stabilize it.
Anyway, so
I like that.
And we can get off on our tangent.
Well, that's what
we are great at tangents.
We'll call this show intros, tangents, and other nonsense.
Something like that. Yeah, there you go. I think, and if you guys have any questions, you can get in touch with us. We have a email address. It is projectxpod@gmail.com. We also have Twitter.
Yeah, we got Twitter.
We've got Twitter now, Project X Pod. And we're trying to think.
We're working on the Facebook page.
We've got a Facebook page. We're going to try to get a little more done on that.
The website.
Yes, all that stuff. And
I've actually got an email address for the podcast now. It's Big Dave X.
There you go.
Pod@gmail.com.
So you can get to him directly that way. The other one, if you email, I'll see it, and actually we'll both see it. That's how you can get in touch with us. Yeah, and we're looking forward to not only recording more episodes and filling your ear holes with our nonsense, but also hearing from you guys. We really do want to hear from you, and and even suggestions of stuff that you want to hear our stupid opinions on. And so,
because the only difference between us and you is we've got the equipment. We have the nerve to actually put our terrible opinions out on
exactly, and pray that nothing comes back on us. So
it's coming back. It's coming back.
Oh, eventually, we were, and this is the thing we were talking about cards. We were talking about this at lunch. I was hanging out with some friends, and they were talking about we should get together and play Cards Against Humanity, or this or that or whatever. And I was just like, guys, you all know me. And every time that I've ever played that game, the people who know me really well, the cards that I use in that game, they're just like, this is what you do every day. There's no way for me to win that game because it's just normal, like, oh yeah, he said it, okay. So
I've purposely tried to not play that game because I'm a horrible human being.
Well, we're all horrible human beings.
I'm trying to make some things better, and I don't need something to lead me down the path of darkness.
Exactly. So
because I could get there kind of quick.
Yeah. Well, it's humans are horrible beings in general, and some of us just embrace it, I guess. So yeah, we look forward to hearing from you. We look forward to causing some kind of outrage, I'm sure, at some point. I guess we don't really look forward to it, but it'll probably happen.
And more than likely it'll be Alan's fault.
It more than likely will be. That's kind of the going line on everything. So anyway, once again, I'm Alan Smith.
I'm Big Dave.
Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.
Have a good one, y'all.